It's been a few weeks since I saw Rock Dog in theaters. Me and a friend went opening weekend, and we were the only ones in the theater. Now, granted, it was a 10 p.m. showing, so I didn't expect a large turnout. I was still surprised that we were the only ones. You know what? We had a good time. I still can't decide whether I like this movie or not, but it was chock full of cute furry characters, so hey, let's talk about it. Before I get into actually analyzing the movie itself, let's first talk about how ambitious it was from a business point of view. Now, you might be asking yourself, what makes this guy qualified to talk about business on an international scale? Well, I'll have you know, I just recently took an intro to business class at my community college, so not to brag or anything, but I know a thing or two about business. Things. The first thing you need to know is this movie was wildly unsuccessful. That's actually kind of insane, considering the fact that it is the most expensive Chinese-financed animation production ever. The reason this movie was so ambitious, in my opinion, was because Rock Dog marked the first time a Chinese animated feature has ever been produced and designed by a Chinese and a Western company. This means that the movie was produced and financed by a Chinese company, but animated completely by a Western company. This made it possible for the Western animation company to bypass a lot of the Chinese cinema taxing laws. If you were to also take a closer look at the English voicing cast, you can tell that they were really trying to make this movie globally accessible. You got people like Luke Wilson, who appeals to American audiences and also looks a lot like Jason Schwartzman. I don't know what that has to do with anything, I just thought it was super creepy. Then you got UK icon legend Eddie Izzard, one of my favorite comedians, who would appeal to the UK audience. Now, if you couple that with the entire Chinese cast, you got yourself a movie that, in theory, should interest people from all over the world. I mean, obviously it did not. Okay, enough of this boring stuff. Let's move on to the movie itself. A little background, Rock Dog is based on a Chinese visual novel called Tibetan Rock Dog by Zhen Jun. I haven't read much of the comic, but this is what Bodhi looks like in it. Very different from the movie. They gave him a haircut and made it seem like he smokes less ganja. Not none at all, just less. One thing I gotta say is I instantly fell in love with the character styles of the movie. Everyone seemed like they held weight and had character. However, I have been struggling a lot on how to actually describe the movie as a whole visually, because at times, the movie looks amazing, full of color and movement, reminding me a lot of Kung Fu Panda. A little too much at times. And other times, it looks god-awful, much like a student animated film, like it lacked resources. Don't get me wrong, I don't actually mean to hate on this film, I actually liked it. The two main characters had feeling and were likable right off the bat. The story wasn't groundbreaking, but it felt like they told it in a unique enough way. The voice acting was solid, though I might have been too mesmerized by Eddie Izzard's incredible convincing performance to really notice anybody else. I went into Rock Dog with very low expectations, since every time I watch an animated film that is not Disney, it usually leaves me with fart jokes and raised eyebrows. I was actually really pleasantly surprised that Rock Dog did not need to rely on any shock or adolescent humor. And although the film looked unexcusably bad at times for the budget they had, the story and charming characters carried it enough for it to be a pleasant watch. The main character, Bodhi, was actually the thing that got me to enjoy the movie. He was charming, his struggle was relatable, and his personality was real. Bodhi, I could definitely get behind.
We bop and pretty hot, I'm as happy as I can be. Whoa, boom, boom, and pretty zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and pretty hot, I'll never be a millionaire.